Hi, everyone. I'm Marjorie Flanagan with Art in Public Places. I am a senior project manager, and we also have on the call staff members Anna Bradley, she's the co-host, and Alex Herrera and Maria Teresa are also on the call, helping with technical issues and staff support. Thanks everybody for joining us. This is the artist information meeting for the AFD EMS Embedded Artist Projects. So, today we're going to cover some general information about the AIPP program background, on the AFD EMS opportunities, and how to apply to be considered for these public artwork opportunities. The presentation part of the meeting will last about half an hour, and it's going to be followed by a Q&A in which I can answer questions. To ask a question, I'm going to ask you to type it in the chat area of Zoom. I'll go over how to do this in a minute, but the reason we ask people to put questions in the chat is so that we can make sure we capture them all and everyone has access to the same information. For your information, we are recording this meeting today, and we will disseminate it out to all the interested artists after. So feel free to add your questions during the presentation period, and then we'll circle back at the end. Maria Teresa will be monitoring the chat and reading the questions at the end. Just to touch on some Zoom basics before we really get, Zoom basics before we get started. Again, we're recording the meeting. So I've muted everyone in order to achieve the best quality for the recording. And I'm gonna post that recording to a link that is on our Austin Creates website, hopefully tomorrow. If you're tuning in from your computer, you should see a screen similar to the one shown here. There's a series of options at the bottom of your window, and I've circled the chat button. Make sure you're chatting to everyone so that all the participants can see the questions and not to me privately. That way Maria Teresa can make sure your questions get answered. If you're having technical difficulties, you can always message Anna, the co-host, privately, and she can help as well. If you're using a mobile device, your screen will look a little bit different. To access the chat window, click participants, and then on the next screen, click chats, and you can type in your questions there. If you're simply calling in to the meeting, you won't be able to access the visuals. However, a recording of the meeting, again, will be posted online after. Okay, a little bit about Art in Public Places. Art in Public Places, also known as AIPP, is a program of the Cultural Arts Division, which is part of the Economic Development Department, which is within the city of Austin. It's all quite scintillating, really. I'm actually trying to get a video made of this whole process so that you don't have to hear me or other staff members repeat the same thing at every artist information meeting. AIPP was started in 1985, and it's the oldest program of its kind in Texas. We're funded through an ordinance that was brought forth by citizens. Yay us! It dedicates 2% of eligible bond-related capital improvement project budgets to the creation of permanent artwork in, at, or near the project construction site. Capital improvement projects include things like the creation and renovation of libraries, fire stations, parks, bridges, and streetscapes. AIPP staff manages the creation of new artworks for the collection. We currently have nearly 400 public artworks in over 150 facilities and locations. Our staff also manages repairs, donations, and loans for the collection. Here's some examples of the works in the collection. As you can see, there's a diversity of form, materials, scale, and a mix of exterior and interior pieces. If you'd like more information on how AIPP is funded, the ordinance, or the work that we do, you can visit the website austincreates.com. Our entire collection is also listed on publicartarchive.org. You can explore the entire collection there, and you can always reach out by phone or email with questions. So here's why we're all here: the AFD and EMS projects. A little bit about AFD and EMS improvements. The Austin Fire Department serves a population of over 800,000 people, 300 square miles in Austin. There's over 1,000 employees that respond to 45 stations and other work sites, about 85,000 calls a year. Like most fire departments, AFD is responsible for providing a lot of different services, including operations and support, aircraft firefighting and rescue, maintenance shops, medical operations, emergency prevention, community outreach, safety, special ops, and educational services. They're known as a leader in the fire service, and AFD is on the cutting edge of technology and training. I actually followed them on Instagram, and they had they've been dealing with a lot of heat calls recently, so it's very interesting seeing what they do. Austin Travis County EMS Medical Services serves over 1,000 square miles, including all of Travis County and parts of Williamson and Hayes counties. 18 cities are included in the service area, including the city of Austin. In 2015, so 5 years ago, EMS responded to over 120,000 calls from 37 stations in the area. AFD and EMS is responsible for providing many services: cadet training, emergency management preparedness, which we're all dealing with now, cadet training academy, emergency special event services, community outreach, education. EMS innovations are world recognized and play a key role in earning a nationally recognized accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation of Ambulance Services. So the stations involved in the renovations are seen here. They're in a variety of districts all around the city, and the artwork locations will be determined in conjunction with project stakeholders, the selected artists, and the community. The reason the stations are set up this way or grouped together has to do with the bond funds and how we spend the funds. So we're not just trying to make people trek all over the town. This is sort of the way they were grouped for the renovation projects. So that was the background. And here's a little bit about the renovations. They are committed to maintaining a safe and equitable facility for their staff. They're going to be bringing, actually, that's 11 stations and a training station up to more usable and safer standard. They're going to create equitable locker rooms and bathroom facilities, second ambulance and quarters for personnel, additional bays, and upgrades to meet the ADA Act. And then they're going to remedy some structural and electrical issues that have been happening at some of the older stations. With every AIPP project, staff works with the community to gain insight on the project goals that reflect the project and help guide the selected artists with the intent of the final artwork. In this case, we worked with both AFD and EMS department heads and staff to craft these goals. There are 5 project goals, as you can see here, and by achieving the project goals established by the community, the artwork has the best chance of benefiting the community that it intended to serve. So the goal of the AFD EMS projects is to select an artist who will design artwork that integrates with either the site, architecture, interior or exterior of the station, is relevant to AFD and EMS's role in how the station serves the community, is easily maintained, is conceptually accessible to station staff and visitors, and contributes to the depth and breadth of the City of Austin's public art collection. here are the stations, which we already saw once. But I did want to mention again, looking at the goals, we don't have specific locations picked out for the artwork. So we're saying that it integrates with either the site, the architecture, and it could be interior or exterior artwork. The 12 stations getting renovations are funded by a bond. They're all over the city. These stations are grouped this way because of how the bonds were funded. So we have to spend that money in a certain way, as I previously said. 6 artists will be selected to work with these stations to better understand how AFD and EMS departments function and utilize those functions to inspire permanent artwork. I know you're thinking, where is the artwork going to go? But we're not dictating what and where the artwork is going, because when the artist is contracted, part of their task will be understanding the needs of the stations and figuring out the best spot for their work. This results in some amazing sculptures and artwork that if we had dictated where it should go, we might not have had those amazing locations. The budget for the embedded artist is $100,000. The budget is all inclusive and covers all costs to design and create the artwork. This includes the artist's time at the station, fabrication and installation, including engineering and permitting fees, travel, shipping expenses, insurance, and all other related costs. So the scope of the work. Each artist will be expected to seek inspiration from conversations with formal and informal stakeholder groups, as well as interviews either in person or online, pending COVID restrictions, with AFD and EMS staff to allow the artist to be inspired by AFD and EMS's role in the community. Each artist will be paired and embedded with station staff. During the artist embedded time, they will spend about 10 to 15 hours per week observing and or documenting the activities of my son is banging on the door. The activities of the assigned station over a period of 3 months. As allowed by the station, we're going to have hopefully some artists able to partake in ride-alongs with on-duty AFD and EMS staff. They're going to be required to document their experiences and show how this time informs the working designs. They will share the documentation with AIPP staff and the AIPP panel to support their mid-design and any required approvals for the final design phase, including meeting and approvals with AFD, EMS, the AIPP panel, and the Arts Commission. And then, of course, each artist is responsible for fabrication and installation of the artwork. This call is open to professional visual artists 18 years of age who live and work in the Austin area. That area is defined as Travis County and the 6 contiguous counties. There will be a jury convened by the AIPP panel to review applications and select up to 18 artists for interviews. That would be 3 per opportunity. Or they can just directly select 6 artists and 6 alternates for the project with no interviews. Those selections, which we call recommendations, will be presented to the AIPP panel for approval, as well as the Arts Commission. And once approved by those bodies, we will recommend to City Council that they grant us authority to negotiate the 6 $100,000 contracts. Possible jurors, you can see here. For most open calls, AIPP hires a jury of artists and visual arts professionals, typically local, who bring relevant knowledge to each particular project. A 3-person jury will convene to recommend an artist and alternate for this project, in this case 6. Shown on the top half of the slide are some possible jurors, although we haven't established them yet due to availability. On the bottom half, you'll see the project advisors who are available to consult on the project. and throughout the entire time. Here you can see a tentative schedule for the project. I say tentative because if you've ever worked in public art or on construction, you know that things often change. It's a moving target, but this gives you a basis for how the time will be spent. We're looking to start the embedded artist time in January. So how do I apply? The application process. AIPP only accepts applications through publicartist.org. You must upload and include imagery of your work, a resume, and 3 references, just name, phone, email, plus answer some key questions. How do you get hired? Did I mention this is key? In lieu of a letter of interest, we are asking artists to answer 3 specific questions. Do you have a prior personal story or connection to the AFD and EMS community? How do you think working in a cohort might influence your artwork? And why do you think you would be a good match for this project? Selection panelists want to know why they should pick you. Here is your chance to tell them. Yes, your imagery and public art experience is important, but your ability to work with the community and commitment to the goals is also important. The deadline for the application is October 1st at 5 p.m. How does Public Artist work? You start a profile. This is always free. Next, you upload your images. Key point here, start by creating a new project. Project means artwork in publicartist.org. Each project could show different viewpoints of the same artwork. So a detailed shot of the artwork, a shot of maybe the piece installed, and a shot of the full piece. Each project will carry the same details such as size, location, and budget. So you don't have to write that for every shot. Once the project details are entered, scroll down. That's important. Sometimes on your screen you can't see where to upload the image, so make sure you scroll down. You can upload as many images for each project, and I think your profile, the image library, holds up to 100 images total. Once you have a profile set up and your images, you can now apply to the call. You will be able to select which exact images you want to apply to this application. If you have technical questions, please contact publicartist.org. They're based in San Antonio. They usually reply within 24 hours, and they can help you with any technical issues. The City of Austin is committed to creating more access to viewing, creating, and decision-making of public art. In order to make that a reality, we're asking applicants to submit demographics information. You have to complete the questions whether or not you want to answer them. You can answer them, I choose not to reply, but you still have to answer them in order for your application to be able to be accepted through the system. So make sure you check the boxes. Question. Here is Anna and I's contact information. You can email and call us anytime you want. Email is probably faster since we're all working from home. We get voicemail through our email system, and then it's kind of hard to call out, but we'll make it work. And then down at the bottom, you can see where a recording of this meeting, hopefully we can splice it together, will be posted. So now I think it's time for questions. Maria Teresa, if you want to unmute and maybe, or I can unmute you and read the questions.
Absolutely. So our first question we have is, if an artist has an ongoing permanent commission, are they eligible to apply for this?
If they have a current contract with Art in Public Places, they are not eligible.
All right. Thank you so much, Marjorie. Our next question that we have asked, if we will all get a link to this recording, which I know you just talked about, just to
Yeah,
make sure.
I will send out a link to, yes, you got your ticket through Eventbrite, so I have your email, and I will send everyone a link to this wonderful uninterrupted presentation, as well as it will be posted for the public at the link down below.
All right, I invite once again everybody to put other questions you guys might have. Feel free to ask anything, big or small.
I'm trying to think if there's anything, again, in your application, I would just say, make sure you think about those questions.
Right, this one is one. Are artists with disabilities encouraged to apply? So
Yes, absolutely.
About the equity statement, maybe with that one.
Yes, the diversity of our collection is a lens through which the City of Boston is viewing all of our services. So we are committed to having persons with all disabilities and abilities invited to apply and be part of AIPP. I do believe in the demographics questionnaire, that is one of the questions. So we would have that information there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can we only apply to the one by where we live? And I'm guessing that is by station location?
So that's a great question. You actually aren't applying to one or the other. You are applying to all of the opportunities, which there are 6. And then once the 6 artists are selected, we will be pairing them with specific stations.
Okay. And then our next one is, what will the payment process look like? As artists, coordinate things like schedule availability, insurance, and supplies. Maybe when payments go out could be a good way to help buy or benchmarks.
Sure. The City of Boston contracting process is through milestone payments. So we don't pay for things ahead of time, and we can't pay for 50% of a project before 50% of the project is complete. So we set up milestones, and when we're writing the contract, there's a negotiation period where we actually go back and forth about if these milestones are going to work for you. And we outline exactly when the payments happen, when the milestones are hit. And your project manager also works with you on outlining how to use the money in a way that you pay yourself and you buy materials, buy your insurance, pay your studio overhead, all of those items, so that they're outlined in a understandable timeline.
Wonderful. So the next one is, does each site have a specific place in mind for their installation?
Nope, we do not have any sites in mind. We are really looking forward to, once the artist is selected, where the artwork goes will be determined with the station, with the community, and with that artist. So the artist could be doing a sculpture, or they could determine with the station that they want to do a mural, or they want to do interior art pieces, or they want to do a lighting display. We're not limiting that right now.
Okay, thanks for that, Marjorie. So I think this is a really great question coming up, is how will the selected artists be paired with the stations, and will it be more than one station?
Yes, so each artist will be paired with multiple to stations, and the decision will be a collaboration between the selected artist, the project managers, Anna and I, and our program manager. So we're hoping to make sort of a best fit scenario. And yeah.
Okay. All right, love it. So many people coming in with questions. So this one's from Anna Bradley, one of our senior AAPP, and is the co-host and will also be one of the project managers. And she's asking if we could maybe talk a little bit about how the artists will work together as a cohort.
Yes, thank you, Anna. I didn't seem to emphasize that, but we're really excited about the fact that we're getting to hire 6 artists at once. In previous projects such as Tempo and Montopolis, which Anna managed both of those, having multiple artists at the same time getting to work together has really informed their own artworks, how they work as a studio artist or public artist. And the 6 artists will be required to spend some time talking together, discussing best practices, discussing their designs, discussing their resources and their vendors. It's really a huge opportunity, not only for all the stations, but also the artists to get to work together.
Awesome. So the next one is, will artists be expected to do multiple installations or just one? For the first set, there are 3 artists for 6 installations.
So the artists do not have to do multiple installations unless they are they want to. You might find there's no really great location at one of the stations, and at another station there's a really publicly visible a lot of green space or open space that would work perfect. So you are free to propose one or the other, just pending how you're inspired and what the design how the design works for the space.
Great. So Liz is asking a question that says, if there's an artist who's applying that's never created public art installation, can the examples be of art I submitted? Can they submit artists art examples? Sorry, guys, that are non-public art.
Sure, you can always submit any artwork samples from your portfolio, but that's no problem.
All right, and then this one's kind of a plus to that one. Is it able to share? Are artists able to share examples from another public art artist that we assisted?
Yes, you can definitely use projects that you worked on. You just need to make clear your role and whose artwork the piece belongs to. So if you assisted in the installation or you assisted in the fabrication, make sure that you make that very clear.
All right, bring on the questions, y'all.
Anything else? We still have some time. I know it's a lot of information.
Okay, so this one's going to talk about artist teams, which we haven't covered much. If there is more than one person on the artist team, are they able to divide up time they spend at the assigned stations per week as they see fit? Or is each artist on the team to spend 10 to 15 hours per week?
That's a good question. I think that we can work with the team and divide up the hours so that everyone gets some experience. I don't know that we're going to require. Anna, do you have any thoughts on that?
Can you hear me? I think that's something that will be worked out once we get the cohort together.
Yeah, that's a good
something
answer.
that we can be flexible with.
Thank you.
All right. So this one's coming from the part of eligibility that talks about professional artists. So what constitutes a professional artist and how is that requirement assessed?
We actually have a definition of professional artist, and I think it's one that I didn't include it here, of course, but your peers would call you an artist, and you have a body of work. Is that right, Anna?
Yes, the panel is interested in seeing the depth and aesthetic of your particular style. So think about that when you're putting your portfolio together. If you were a fabricator for another artist and you are showcasing your work, you could do that. That's what the panel will be looking for the most.
Next question we have is there a way to meet with a project manager to find out what benchmarks or milestones look like, what the benchmarks or milestones look like?
Sure. We can also include some example milestones in the Q&A that I post with this. How's that? But you can always email us and ask us. The milestones aren't necessarily set. They're sometimes different for every project based on the needs of the artist and the installation. There's going to be a design contract and a commission contract. So there'll actually be two sets of milestone payments. Usually the budget is divided up with about 20% going to design, and then 20% of that, or 15 to 20% of that 20% would go as a artist fee. And then there's milestones when you present the design to the panel and it gets approved at mid-design and at final design. And there's milestones in the commission contract for when you submit your engineering documents if you're doing a sculpture, when your site work is complete if you're pouring a foundation, when you've delivered and installed the piece, and when you close out the project. So they're kind of set at different deliverables that the artist must complete. But I'm happy to share some.
I think that'd be really helpful, Marjorie, to get a better sense of that.
I could add to that. We always work with our artists when they're working out their budget. So out of this budget of $100,000, if you want to do a little back of the envelope paperwork, you can take away 20% for your design fee and then a 5% contingency. And then you can take away all of your hard costs like your studio overhead, your insurance. And then with that residual amount, you can figure out materials, installation, transportation, fabrication, and sort of work backwards from that $100,000 mark. And that will help you budget your total project, including your time.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you.
Going back to the division of the artists and the hours, to listen or hear more about what types of things artists would be doing during those 10 to 15 hours per week.
Sure. I think they would be meeting with station staff. I think they would be talking to the fire station deputy, the staff that supports the people doing the work, and finding out about what they do day to day, how they feel. Anything that interests the artist. They can be taking pictures of what happens during ride outs. They can be writing about what it feels like to be bored sitting in a station with no calls coming in, what it feels like to be part of a team of workers, and how they interact as a family or fight. We're hoping that the artist gets time to really experience and showcase the amazing things that these departments do for the city of Austin. And it's going to be flexible because of the coronavirus. So we'll figure that out when we get to it. Anything else, guys? Let me make sure you have this as well. And there's a longer version of everything I've said here today in the RFQ. When you go to publicartist.org, there's, I think, 1 or 2 documents you can download that are attached to this call that will give you further or similar information. But if you want to have it to reference that way, it's available.
Oh, we have one more question coming in.
Sure.
Could you go over the application requirements again?
Sure. Up to 10 images of your artwork. You're going to be answering these 3 questions. You're going to have a resume of your work experience and 3 contacts for references. You don't need a letter, just their name, email, and phone number. And then you also have to answer the demographic questions. I also wanted to mention our program is actively working to streamline the process of 1, applying, 2, working, becoming a public artist, and 3, disseminating information to our artists. During this time, we, like everyone else, are learning new technologies and systems to support the creative economy in Austin. So if you ever have feedback or would like information about that, or to talk to someone, please feel free to reach out to any of the staff on that.
All right, so we have one question of how can we become members of the AIPP pre-qualified artist pool? And Margie, you want to take that one, or Alex and I, do we want to take that one away? How do we?
Either one.
Sure. So Alex Herrera and I, Maria Teresa, we are the project managers that are doing that AIPP pre-qualified pool, and we're hoping it is still in the approval phase before that, and we'll be putting out pretty much the same kind of presentation. However, all the details will be for that. And there'll be artist information meetings, and there will be marketing about it. And you'll get all that information as well as questions to answer. So that'll be coming soon, and there'll be lots of kind of knowledge with it. Alex, I feel like I'm kind of glossing details right now.
That's okay.
We've been
Yeah,
so
I
embedded.
No, I can fill in some stuff. So Hannah, so the pre-qualified artist pool is something that happens, like the artist can apply for every 2 years, and we're actually coming up on getting ready to release the call for the next 2 years. So that call, as Maria Teresa said, will be launched. We're hoping for early September, and then artists will have 2 months to apply. And then we'll have a jury specifically for that pre-qual call that will select artists to go into the new pre-qualified artist pool for 2021 to 2023. So so that there is an application process there and like a juried process there, but that application will be released soon, and we can definitely get more into the weeds and answer any more questions you have about that once that call launches in September. So stay tuned for that.
Of course, definitely. All right, so we're having some follow-up questions on the pre-qualified, and so we have some as what does it mean to be pre-qualified and what are the benefits? So we're going to go over just kind of quickly these pre-qualified. We love that you're asking because we love seeing artists that are showing so much interest. But like Alex said, this will be coming out in the very near future, so please keep an eye out for it, just to make sure that we can cover if anybody has any AFD EMS questions. So what does it mean to be pre-qualified? It means that you will go through the process just like Alex said, and you will then enter a pool that if you are selected by that jury, that you're artistic and kind of like you, Alex, help me with some words here.
Sure. Okay, so the pre-qualified pool, essentially that pool is a tool for selection on certain projects. So like some projects, like this AFD EMS call, AIPP is releasing as an open call. So anyone, living within like the 7-county metropolitan area for Austin, if they're over 18, they can apply. And then in other instances, AAPP and the sponsoring department might choose to instead draw from the pool. And so it's kind of like a fast-tracked or different method for selection. And essentially being in the pool will qualify you or make you more eligible for the projects in which the pool is being utilized as opposed to a project using just an open call. And it's also something you can put on your resume. And we also use that pool as like a resource list when other programs or other, other folks, communities or companies looking to do public art come to AIPP and say, we're looking for an artist. We can tell them about our process, how to do an open call, but we can also offer them the pool as a resource. So it's something that we share out with our partners.
Thank you, Alex. I don't know where my words have gone. For more information, we'll be doing an artist information meeting in the near future, just as that call will be let out in the near future. So keep an eye towards it. And once again, you're always encouraged to contact Alex or I Any other questions?
Okay, well, it doesn't sound like we have any more questions. I will, again, try to get these recordings spliced together and emailed out and then posted on the AIPP website as soon as I can, hopefully tomorrow or Friday. But look out for that and let us know if you, oh, maybe there's one more question.
Oh, okay. This one is there a specific style that is being like people are looking for?
No, absolutely not. For this project and opportunities, there's nothing in mind. It's open to all mediums, all types. Okay, well, thanks again for coming to the information meeting. One more. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for all your questions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.